Buenos días. Es el viernes y son las 12. Hello, everyone. It's 12 o'clock and it's Friday, so it's time for our last Community Spanish of this week, broadcasting live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12. So after today, I will next be seeing everyone on Monday. But stay tuned, so we still have more programming coming to you today, as we've been doing the kids classes every afternoon. Kids French happening at 3 o'clock and Kids Spanish happening at 3:30. And as we also pioneered this week, the start of our community French lessons, which are on Tuesday and Thursday mornings at 8:30. So there's lots of things to tune into. And as well, we've also started going live on Instagram as well. So if you wanted to see some kind of different styles of lessons and different information, you're welcome to follow us there on Instagram and see we're going live for French and also going live for Portuguese on Instagram. So there's lots to watch. A reminder, please like, comment, and share on the videos. That way we know what you're enjoying. And maybe if you want to leave us a comment about what you'd like to learn, that's very helpful, so we can have a guide for topics that we know are directly applicable to what you would like to learn. So without further ado, I'm going to get into today's lesson. So on our last video, we started working on the future tense in Spanish. So what we're going to do today is a continuation of that. But we're going to be focusing on irregular verbs in the future. So luckily there aren't too many of them, but there are some of them are some of our most commonly used verbs. So it's important for us to take a look and try to work on these. Fortunately, it's just a question of memorizing because they're irregular. So what are you going to do? But we must do that if we're going to speak Spanish well. So I'm going to share my screen with you so you can see the information. So as I said, we're focusing on future and on irregular verbs, as we learned in our last lesson with the future. The difference between saying, you're going to do something in Spanish, which is the near future, versus the simple future, which is the one that we learned last time, which is the equivalent of like will in English: will do, will read, will think. So that's what we learned last time. So if you remember, what we did was we took the infinitive of the verb, that's kind of the neutral form of the verb, ends with AR, ER, or IR, and then we added a series of endings onto the end of the infinitive. So it's a little bit of a different process. Normally when we're learning to conjugate verbs, we take the infinitive and then we take something off and then add the ending. But in fact, for future, most of what we're doing is taking the infinitive and adding something extra. So this is a little bit different than what we normally do in Spanish, like for example, for the present tense. Here we have a collection of our verbs, of some of our most used verbs, but unfortunately are irregular verbs. So we have to learn them separately. So we have, for example, in the first line, please repeat these after me so you can help start getting them into your head. I'm going to get the arrow here. So we have in this line here. So for example, the verb caber, okay, caber. So we have, for our firm, we have cabre, cabre. Caber means like to fit. So I will fit, yo cabré. Okay, you can see how the change here. So we lost the E in the original infinitive for our future stem with this CABR. And we add our endings like cabré, cabras, cabra, okay, and so on and so forth. Next one we have haber, haber. So we have the form abre, abre. So this one's very similar to caber. So haber is, we don't really know this verb by itself, but what we do know is the word I. This is one that almost all Spanish students learn, whether you're in beginner or in more advanced. I means there is or there are in Spanish. And so haber is actually the infinitive that I comes from. So we are mostly going to use this one for future, just in the el, ella, usted form. Okay, because when you say there is or there are, again, it's not usually a person doing it. It's just a kind of general, in the general situation, there is or there are something. So we're not going to be using really the abre, abras, abra on all the forms like we normally would, because when we say like there is or there are, or in this case it's there will be, we only have really one form to use. So in this case, we're going to be using abra for future. Okay, abra. But if we're just for the practice, we have the yo form here, and these we can use them in some different tenses, but it's a little bit more complex, so we're not going to touch on that today. Next one we have in this list is the verb poder, poder, and we have podré, podré. So if you remember, poder is the verb means like, this we usually translate as can or to be able to do something. So yo podré would be I will be able to. Okay. So this one probably you'd follow it with an infinitive, like I will be able to listen, or I will be able to attend, for example. So podré leer, podré asistir, podré decir, for some examples with poder. Next one we have is querer, querer, and we have querré, querré. This is querer is to want, so this is I will want, yo querré. And the last one we have on our list on this first row, we have the verb saber. Saber is to know, as in to know a fact or to know how to do something. Not for knowing people, not for showing familiarity. So if you want a little review on that, this discussion of saber and the verb conocer, the two verbs to know, I have made another video about that, so feel free to check that out if you want to get a little review or a refresher on that, or just more information on the differences between those. But this is saber as in to know a fact or to know how to do something like a skill. So saber, and we have the form sabré, sabré. So that's I will know. Okay. So you can see there's a certain similarities between these ones in this row. We have ones usually where we took out that vowel, whether it's an ER verb, took out that vowel mostly. That's the kind of commonality of this group. But we have a couple other groups to look at on the next page before we get to our practice. So we have here a couple other groups of very basic, so the ones we use the most, but unfortunately irregular verbs that we have to learn. So let's please repeat these after me too. Por favor, repiten después de mí. So we have first word poner, poner, and it's pondré, pondré. Okay, so this is, we're adding a D into this one and also taking out that vowel. So this is, it would be I will put, would be pondré. Okay. Next one for salir, salir, we have saldré, saldré. So I will go out or I will leave. For tener, tener, we have tendré, tendré. So I will have. Okay. This one is valer, valer. This verb I don't see it a lot, but so valer means to be worth. So for example, if you say like this cup is worth $5, vale $5. Okay, so to be worth, it's worth. Okay, so in this case, yo valdré would be I will be worth. Okay, next one we have is venir, venir, and we have vendré, vendré. So this is I will come. So this is our group of these 5 that follow kind of a similar pattern of adding that D into the stem and then also taking away the vowel like we saw in the first group. And we have a couple other ones just to add to our list before we get to our practice. So we have the verb here, decir, decir. And we have diré, diré. So I will say. And the last one we have is the verb hacer, to do, hacer, and it's haré, haré. So making sure that we see, that we remember from the last video about with our pronunciation, make sure it's clear where you can hear the accent part being the strongest part. As I said in the last one, we want to make sure that not only can the person understand us, like they hear us well, but also because sometimes depending on where you put the stress in the word, even if it's all the same letters, it could actually be a different verb tense than the future. So you have to be very precise about how you pronounce it to make sure that it's clear to the listener about that you're speaking in the future tense and not in another tense. Because that even if you use all the same letters, even just taking out that accent mark sometimes can be a different tense. So we want to be careful. So let's do a quick review one last time of these irregulars, and then we'll get to the practice exercise together. So we have cabré, habré, podré, querré, sabré, pondré, saldré, tendré, valdré, vendré, diré, haré. Again. So we have that kind of going in our head. And so just a little note we have at the bottom to keep in mind for those that are compound verbs that have these verbs we just looked at as stems, you're still going to follow the same thing that we just learned here. So for example, we have the word, the verb obtener, which you can see has tener as a root. So we're going to follow the same pattern. So for example, if I want to say I will obtain, I would say obtendré, just like we did for tener. So obtendré, obtendrás, obtendrá. So just keeping in mind for these verbs that have these other verbs we just learned as their roots, you should follow the same irregular conjugation. So let's do a little bit of practice. We're going to go to this exercise here where we want to try to finish the sentence with the right form of the verb. So please feel free to write in the comments, let me know your responses and make sure that this is all settling in well. Okay, so vamos a hacer número uno. Let's go to number one. Hugo, blank, la tarea porque está mal. So our verb here we have rehacer, or to redo. Okay, so we're going to need to remember what the stem was for hacer. So we have ar as our stem. Okay, so we're going to say, because it's Hugo, so it's the L form, will be re a ra. Re a ra. And I'm going to put it like this, and I'm going to put the accent and write it in red just to make sure that we're paying attention about where we should write it and where we should stress. So Hugo rehará la tarea porque está mal. Hugo will redo the homework because it's bad, like it's wrong. Okay. Número dos. Nunca jamás, never again. We have nosotros en decir el secreto que guardamos. So if you remember for decir, the stem that we learned for the future was dir, okay, dir. And then we have to add on the ending that goes with nosotros, which we learned in the past video, which was hemos. So put these two together and we get diremos. So never again will we say the secret that we are keeping. Okay, número tres. We have venir muchos chicos a la escuela este año. Okay, so many kids will come to the school this year. Okay, so we have the verb venir, and then we're connecting that with muchos chicos. So muchos chicos, if you think about it, is that going to be the yo form, the tú form, él, ella, usted, nosotros, vosotros, ellos, ellos, ustedes? If you think about los chicos, muchos chicos, that's going to be ellos. So we should use the ellos form. So we learned before that our stem for venir is vendre, right, with the D, that we're adding that D. And then we learned that the ending for ellos from the past video is an. Okay, so we're going to put like this, and then again, I'm going to write my accent mark here in red so we can see it easily. Vendrán muchos chicos a la escuela este año. Okay, vendrán. Again, making sure that we can hear the stress on that accented A. Número 4. We have tener en tu lápices, goma de borra, tijeras y sacapuntas en el estuche. So you will have pencils, eraser, scissors, and pencil sharpener in the pencil case. So the verb is tener. Remember from above, the stem for tener was tendre with the D again. And again, we know it's the two conjugations because they told us that in the parentheses. So we're going to add the ending of as. Okay, so we have all together tendre as our base, and adding the as ending goes with two. I'm going to write the accent mark in here in red. Tendrás lápices. You will have. Okay, número 5. Jorgelina blank la cama de su cuarto en un rato. So Jorgelina will make the bed in her room in a little bit. Un rato is like in a little while. Okay, so we have the verb hacer, which is very similar to the one we had in número 1, which was rehacer. So, and we have Jorgelina, so this was also going to be quite similar to this one because we're using the LA usted conjugation just like number 1. So we have ar as our stem, and then the a ending that goes with el, ella, usted. So we have hará. So Jorgelina hará la cama. Jorgelina will make her bed. Okay, muy bien. Next one. We have número 6. Mis padres And then the verb mantener, una charla importante con el director de la escuela secundaria. So my parents will keep, mantener, maintain an important talk with the director of the school, of the secondary school, the high school, or maybe middle school, depending on where you are. Sometimes they escuela secundaria can be high school. Sometimes it means middle school. It depends. So we have the verb mantener, which we can see we have tener as a root to that. So we're going to follow the same pattern that we do for tener. So we have mantendrá as our base, and then we see it's mis padres. So we know we should use the ellos conjugation. So mantendrán. Okay? And I'm adding my accent here. So mantendrán. Ellos. My parents will maintain, will have. Número 7. ¿Estás segura que blank? So obtener is our verb. Buenas notas en el examen. So we think about who we're probably talking to. Like, ¿estás segura? It's sure, it's a sure thing that blank good grades on the exam. So probably we're talking to someone. We're saying it's a sure thing that you will get good grades. Okay. So if we're saying it's tú and the verb is obtener, just like we had for mantener, we're going to use tener as our base that we should conjugate with. So we have obtendrá as our base, and then we're using tú, so we know the ending should be as. So we have obtendrás, and again, going to put the accent to make sure that our stress is here. Because again, if we didn't write the accent, then it would be obtendrás would be the pronunciation, obtendrás, and we would highlight the middle, but it should be obtendrás. Strong at the end. Número 8, we're getting towards the end. Número 8, we have poner en tu música disco en la fiesta de fin de curso. So you will put on, like you'll play this music, disco music at the party for the end of the school year. So tú is the person and poner is the verb. Poner, to put on. So we saw from before the root for poner is pondre. Okay. And then we saw it's tú, so we're going to add the ending just like we had in the last one. It's going to be the as ending, and again put our accent mark. So it's pondrás. Okay, muy bien. Número 9, ellos, and then we have the verb venir a casa para cenar a las 8 de la noche. So ellos, they will come to the house to eat dinner. So cenar is to eat dinner a las 8 de la noche at 8 o'clock at night. So we have the verb venir. Okay, so we can use número 3 as an example, number 3, just like we did. So we know that the root for venir is vendre with the G. Okay, and the ellos conjugation means that we're going to have the ending an. So an, and then we're going to add the accent mark. We begin. So we have only 3 left to go. So we have el perro, and then the verb salir, a pasear mañana temprano. Okay, so we need to make the verb salir go with el perro. So we have saldr as our base, and then we have el perro, so the dog. So if we think about which person that goes with, is it yo, tú, el, ella, usted, nosotros, vosotros, ellos, ellas, ustedes? El perro is like the same thing as saying he, right? So we're going to use the el, ella, usted conjugation. So we should use the ending a. So el perro saldrá with accent, saldrá a pasear mañana temprano. The dog will go out to go for a walk early tomorrow morning. Número 11, dos más. So we're on number 11. We have 2 more to go. So we have tener en yo 30 años dentro de 5 meses. So I will be 30 years old in less than 5 months. Okay. So we have tener as our verb, and we know it's the yo form. So we're going to use tendré as our base. And then with yo, we've seen in all of our examples that the ending should be a. So we're going to add this with the accent. So tendré 30 años, dentro de 5 meses tendré. All right, last one, número 12. Esa colección de estampillas, and our verb is valer, una fortuna en 50 años. So this that collection of stamps will be worth a fortune in 50 years. Hopefully you can wait that long. Okay, so we have the verb valer as we learned from above, to be worth, and the base is going to be valdre, or the stem is going to be valdre. And we think about esa colección de estampillas, so that stamp collection. So we think about in our verb chart, does that go with yo, tú, usted, nosotros, vosotros, or ellos, ellas, ustedes? So we think about that stamp collection is like saying it, okay? So that would fall into the el, ella, usted group. So we're going to have the ending a. So esa colección de estampillas valdrá una fortuna en 50 años. Again, that stamp collection will be worth a fortune in 50 years. So that's the practice we're doing today. As usual, I'm going to be posting this video up on the website, on our Facebook Live page on the Rola Languages website. So you can, if you want to click the link to see the video again, you can do that. I'm also going to be putting up another exercise there. So if you want to get some more practice with these future irregular verbs, or if you want to share it with someone who you think needs more practice, then you're welcome to send them the link to the website. So stay tuned for that. Otherwise, I will see you next on this coming Monday for the next Community Spanish at 12 o'clock. So I hope you have a great weekend. Que tengan un buen fin de semana y adiós.